It's going now. I guess so. Okay. So yeah, I think if I could convey one thing that I wish I saw more in other people, but maybe it's a rhetorical thing. I think often it's just rhetorical, and it's this, that, you know, the ability to hold more than one idea in mind, right? For example, in this situation, and I'm sorry to the guy that quit smoking, and yeah, I smoke in every video now, it's a trigger thing. I mean, I'm at this weird point where I want to quit, but I don't want to quit yet. But I'm moderating it and whatever. That's my current situation. Okay. I thought of doing it as an experiment in willpower, but arbitrary things like that, like just to prove that I can will myself, because, you know, not every technique of willpower is worth it. Okay. But so, okay, multiple views on this consciousness thing. So, like, does a rock have consciousness? Well, I have one system of looking at this stuff where, sure, a rock has consciousness. Yeah? It's as if you could just consider it. Well, and what kind of consciousness is it? Well, it's not very bright. You know, is it suffering? No, probably not. It's just sitting. Is it bored? It's not smart enough to be bored. You know, so it's like, I can visualize it as this humming, it's officially conscious, but I don't see any of the behaviors, or, you know, it still doesn't seem alive. Alive would be where that consciousness could actually start to express itself. And here, remember, way back, okay, self-consciousness is a part of this. But when I say consciousness, I'm saying consciousness of awareness. But without self-awareness, you think you think you're the universe. This is how the universe is. The feelings you have is what's going on in the universe. You don't even question that. I'm pretty sure that lower life forms are in this kind, so-called lower life forms, are in this boat, just because I think a lot of humans are. So if we're prone to it, yeah, I mean. And use that idea, you know, to really get it. You know, you're not gonna buy it entirely, but you really understand it. Like, if you were an actor using method acting, you could act it. I think it's important. But anyway, so on the one hand, I could consider that, right? And that's fun with some mystical science fiction-y stuff, like, oh yeah, when we reincarnate, you can reincarnate as anything. You reincarnate as a rock, you live 10 billion years, but you don't do much. Okay? You know, whereas a fly lives 2 days and is just go, 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 busy, busy, busy. Just sex and food. Actually, I always like this idea of reincarnation, where people would think, oh, you start off as something, as a worm, and you work your way up. No, 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 no. Humans are the ones with potential. So a blank soul capable of anything would be incarnated as a human. And as you live, like as a parasite, you eventually, you know, you evolve into an animal that's a little more parasitic, until eventually you evolve as a tick, and you get to be just like you like to, and you live with the ramifications of your decisions. You know, hedonists eventually become flies, because flies just fucking eat for 2 days, and then boom, it's over, no more. Not even time for pain. You lose a leg, yeah, they don't even have pain for it. Why? Because you just keep going. Tomorrow it's all over anyway. In any issue that's at the edge of our understanding, and consciousness is at the edge of our understanding, but then again, in the last 25 years, we were getting up to it. All of a sudden, I mean, after it says thousands of years old contemplation, there's been medical hints at it. We had anesthesia, we have dream studies, all going way back. But I don't believe that literally. I'm just saying science fiction. Okay, science fact, science, what was the word? Not science fantasy. Okay. Back to the analytic part. So I can see it as if that. On the other hand, I see that, you know, we might find out that, oh, well, you know, there is automatic reaction to environment. There is some sort of innate evolution that because of evolution, it can crack open this, and this consciousness can express itself in a drive to get expressed, or just by chance it'll happen to get expressed, and that might happen at a more complex stage of evolution. So maybe it is just the tubulins in animals. So that would mean it's just the eukaryotic life has perceptions. Right? That's a totally different thing. That materially, you know, who knows? It might not apply to everything. So how do I believe both of those at once? Well, I look at one as a metaphor when I'm considering the other one as true. Right? You know, consciousness as we understand it might require tubulin, but our neurology, neurophysics, whatever, that whole field, and our understanding of the brain, you know, that there's no real center of things, it's all distributed, and then it turns out, well, these organs in the brain do have particular jobs, but they're in a network, so they're a node in a network. You have to understand the network to understand their job, but then they still do have, like, the thalamus and consciousness, which I'm not sure how much that tells us, because it seems like, yeah, the consciousness has to do with something that can hook all of these single cells together. You know, there might be a reason to call these other animals conscious. Maybe it'll be a fundamentally different sense, though. Okay, and there's a lot more systems like that. Basically, any system that someone sets up for me, I'll consider this. Oh, it comes from complexity somehow. Have considered that one actually for years and years in the past, and I still do. But what I wanted to talk about is having this system where I can imagine a mosquito or any creature having a stream of perceptions. I can look at its environment, and I can look at the nature of animals and how we see survival behaviors as related to animals. And if you see a chemical process that looks a certain way, you can have to watch a long time before you realize, no, it didn't really count as alive the way it burnt out. And so we can wonder, like, I think plants are conscious. Oh, that's just crazy. Like they know when you're singing to them. And no, they're not like human consciousness. You have to be able to think of more than one conscious, but your conscious is so encompassing. Can't you just filter out some of the things you feel and think, like, if I was a plant, I have no eyes, so I'm not seeing things. You know, I don't have ears, so I'm not hearing things the way so what am I conscious of? Well, sunlight. Plants track sunlight. Seems like they're conscious of that. I think we could make some guesses that a plant probably could feel thirsty. Why? Well, that's how biological systems motivate behavior, their own behavior, or how the behavior is motivated by the DNA or whatever, is these sense spaces. So, for example, people say, you know, conference report is asking, I should get my coffee. Is a plant going, if a plant is reaching out to try to grab water with its roots, because its biggest problem is water as opposed to trying to grab some other nutrient or something, is it going to go beep beep, I'm a computer, I need more water, my water level is bump, salinity bump, bump? No, it's going to feel thirsty, right? Why would it have a more sophisticated analysis of its lack of water than we have? Now, it's going to be like ours in the sense that it's just going to feel thirsty. It'll have to create this neocortex to figure out, oh, I feel thirsty because the genes have programmed into me this feeling to get me to motivate me to go get water, because otherwise I would die. It's not going to think that. It's just going to feel thirsty, right? If you go through as many animals as you can this way, you'll find there's a great many things that any living creature can be deduced to look like it's conscious of. And we get obsessed on, but I can never feel they're conscious. How will I really know? Well, that seems like a big showstopper until we remember that that's how it is in everything. Right? I can't really know all the atoms in, you know, in this key, but I can capture the whole group of atoms, use it as a key. I can't know it all the way down. I don't think it is a key. It's a bunch of metal atoms. The reason I relate these things is because of coordination. Like in space, I hear something and see something, and they both get located in my spatial sense, and I relate them because they're coming from the same space. You know, how can I think another human has an internal experience like me? Well, okay, I can take a video of myself and watch myself the same way I would watch another person and say, that looks just like a person. I look just like other people. Cheers.